your eyes for a moment. I want you to consider a radical idea, the version of you that is already successful, already healed, and already living your wildest dreams does not exist in the future. It exists right now as a vibrational frequency in the infinite field of possibility. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for something out there to change so they can feel something in here. They wait for the wealth to feel abundant, wait for the success to feel powerful. But that is living in cause and effect. To become a magnet, you must move from being a victim of your world to being the creator of your world. To truly understand what it means to become a magnet for success, we must first address the biological gravity that keeps most individuals tethered to a life they no longer desire. Your brain is a record of the past. It is an artifact of everything you have learned and experienced up to this moment. People wake in the morning and immediately begin the process of remembering their problems. Those problems are connected to certain people, certain things, and certain places at specific times. The moment you begin to think about your problems, you are thinking the past, because every one of those memories has an associated emotion, usually one of stress, lack, or frustration. The moment you feel those emotions, your body is literally in the past. Your body doesn't know the difference between an actual experience that creates an emotion and an emotion you create by thought alone. To the body, the thought is the reality. This creates a loop where your thinking creates your feeling creates your thinking, and eventually this cycle hardens into a state of being. If you are living by the same familiar feelings every single day, you are signaling the same genes in the same way. You are effectively telling your biology that nothing has changed, and therefore nothing can change. You cannot create a new future while your entire internal chemistry is anchored in the memory of yesterday. To become a magnet for possibility, first break the chemical addiction to your old self. This requires a level of awareness that most people never cultivate. It requires you to observe your automatic thoughts and behaviors with such intensity that you no longer allow them to pass by unnoticed. People are unconscious in their daily lives. They are running on a program. They brush their teeth the same way, drive to work the same way, and react to their boss the same way. Memorize behaviors and emotional reactions that function like a computer script. If you want to attract success, you have to get beyond that script. You have to be greater than the conditions of your environment. When you decide to change, the body will naturally protest. It has been the mind for so long that it wants to return to the familiar state of suffering or guilt because at least that state is predictable. The body will start sending signals to the brain, too tired. This isn't working. You'll never change. Or it's too hard. This is the moment where the work truly begins. This is the moment where you must decide to be the master of your internal world rather than a victim of your external world. Every time you catch yourself slipping into a habit of the past and you bring your attention back to the present moment, you are breaking the energetic bond with your old reality. You are reclaiming the energy that was once invested in your limitations and making it available for you to create something new. This is the process of unlearning and relearning. You are pruning away the neurological connections that no longer serve your vision of success and beginning to forge a new path. By refusing to be defined by the memory of the past, you create a vacuum in your life that the field of infinite possibility must fill. You become a pioneer of your own consciousness, moving out of the predictable and into the miraculous. You are no longer waiting for your life to change. You are changing your mind to change your life. The process of transformation requires a fundamental confrontation with the personality you have cultivated over decades, for your personality is what creates your personal reality. If you want to change your life, you have to change yourself. It means that you must reach a point where you are so tired of your own excuses, so finished with your own limitations, that you are willing to step into the fire of total change. Breaking the habit of being yourself is perhaps the greatest challenge a human being can undertake because it involves moving from the known to the unknown. Most people stay in the known, even if it is painful, because the known feels safe. Rather feel miserable and certain than take a chance on being happy and uncertain. But to become a magnet for success, you must become comfortable with the discomfort of the unfamiliar. You have to stop being the person who wakes up and checks their phone, immediately reacting to the world, and instead start being the person who decides who they are going to be before they even open their eyes. When you begin this work, you are essentially hijacking a biological system that has been running on autopilot. Your brain has been hardwired to think in a specific way, and your body has been conditioned to feel in a specific way. To break this habit, you must begin to think greater than how you feel. If you wake up and feel tired or uninspired, allow that feeling to dictate your thoughts. You have just let your body become the mind. You have surrendered your power to a chemical state. To break the habit, you must consciously choose a thought that is higher than the emotion of the body. This is a battle of will. It is about deciding that your vision for the future is more real than the emotions of your past. You have to rehearse your new life so intensely that your brain begins to look as though the event has already occurred. As the science of neuroplasticity, you are literally rewriting the software of your mind. As you begin to think about a new way of being, you start to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like the experience has already happened. Then, the hardware becomes a software program, and eventually the new behavior becomes as natural as the old one was. But this requires more than just positive thinking. It requires a total biological overhaul. You have to catch yourself in the act of being your old self. You have to notice the moment you start to judge, the moment you start to feel sorry for yourself, or the moment you start to doubt your worthiness. When you catch those moments and you stop, you are no longer the program, you are the consciousness observing the program. This is where the true power lies. Most people are so identified with their thoughts that they believe they are their thoughts. But once you realize you are the one watching the thought, you realize you have the power to change it. You begin to ask yourself what the greatest version of yourself would think, how they would walk, how they would breathe, and how they would respond to a challenge. You begin to embody that person in the present moment. Wait for the success to come to feel empowered. You feel empowered now, and that empowerment is what pulls the success to you. You are essentially teaching your body emotionally what your future will feel like before it has manifested. When you do this, are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your destiny. You are stripping away the layers of the old personality, the guilt, the shame, the unworthiness, until the core of your creative power is revealed. Is the moment you stop being a servant to your past and start being the master of your future. To step into the frequency of success, one must master the internal alignment of heart, brain coherence, a state where the physical body and the energetic mind operate in a unified rhythmic harmony. Most people live in a state of incoherence, where their thoughts are scattered and their emotions are reactive, creating a chaotic signal that the quantum field simply cannot read. When you are stressed, fearful, or frustrated, your heart rhythm becomes jagged and irregular, sending a signal to the brain that the environment is unsafe. In response, brain enters a high beta state, a survival mode where it tries to predict every possible disaster. This state of incoherence is the opposite of a magnet. It is a repellent. It keeps you locked in a narrow focus on the material world, looking for solutions through the lens of survival rather than through the lens of creation. To shift this, you must learn to harmonize the two most powerful centers of your being. The brain provides the vision, the clear intention of what you want to achieve. The heart is the engine that provides the emotional charge. You can think about success all day long, but if your heart is still stuck in the emotion of lack or the feeling of unworthiness, there is a fundamental mismatch in your broadcast. The universe does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are. Coherence begins the moment you shift your attention away from the outer world and focus on the space around your heart. By breathing deeply and slowly, signal to your nervous system that the threat has passed and that it is safe to create. As you slow your breath, you begin to cultivate elevated emotions like gratitude, appreciation, and joy. These are not just pleasant feelings, powerful electromagnetic frequencies. When you feel gratitude, your heart begins to beat in a coherent, consistent pattern, which in turn entrains the brain into a state of alpha or theta waves. This is the bridge between the conscious and the subconscious mind. In this state of coherence, the heart acts as a powerful transducer, creating a toroidal field of energy that extends feet away from your body. This is your magnetic field. When you marry a clear intention, a detailed mental image of your success with the elevated emotion of gratitude, you are essentially signaling the quantum field that the event has already occurred. This is because gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. We usually feel grateful after something good has happened. Therefore, if you feel gratitude in the present moment, your body and the field believe the successful event has already manifested in your reality. Alignment creates a powerful pull that collapses the distance between your current state and your desired future. Instead of going out and trying to force, manipulate, or grind your way to success, you are drawing the experience to you. You become the vortex. When your heart and brain are in sync, you move out of the state of competition and into the state of creation. You no longer see the world through the limited eyes of the ego, which believes that for you to win, someone else must lose. Instead, you see a world of infinite possibility where your frequency determines your results. This coherence allows you to access a higher level of intuition and clarity, making you more efficient and more aware of the synchronicities that begin to appear in your life. You start to notice that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right information start finding you, often in ways you could never have planned with your logical mind. This is the hallmark of being a magnet. You are no longer chasing your life, are commanding it from a state of internal unity. You are becoming a powerful broadcaster of a new signature, one that is synchronized with the very success you seek to experience. By maintaining this coherence, you ensure that your energy is never drained by the external environment, but rather your internal environment begins to reorganize the world around you to match the high frequency of your heart. To step into the realm of true manifestation, you must master the art of living in the future present, a state where your internal experience is so vivid and emotionally charged that your body believes it is living in a new reality in the current moment. People are waiting for their external circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel the emotions of success. They think that once they have the money, they will feel abundant. Once they have the relationship, they will feel loved. Once they reach the pinnacle of their career, they will feel powerful. But this is the old model of reality, a Newtonian way of living that is based on cause and effect. In the quantum model of reality, you must cause the effect yourself. You must feel the emotion before the experience occurs. This is a profound shift in consciousness because it requires you to trust your internal world more than the evidence of your five senses. Your senses tell you that you are sitting in a chair, your bank account has a certain balance, and that your life looks a certain way. But if you only react to what your senses tell you, you are trapped in a loop of recreating the same reality over and over again. To become a magnet for possibility, move beyond the senses and occupy the emotional space of the person you intend to become. Living in the future present means that you are no longer a victim of your environment. You are the creator of your environment. You close your eyes and mentally rehearse the life you want to lead. You are not just daydreaming. You are engaging in a sophisticated neurological process. By focusing your attention on the thoughts and feelings of your future self, you begin to fire and wire new neural pathways in your brain. If you do this with enough intensity and emotional conviction, the brain cannot distinguish between what is happening there and what is happening here. You are literally installing the hardware of your future in the present moment. But the real secret lies in the emotional component. Teach your body what that future feels like. You must cultivate the feeling of worthiness, the feeling of freedom, and the feeling of overwhelming joy until those emotions become your natural state of being. When your body is chemically aligned with your future, it is no longer looking for it. It feels as if the event has already happened. This is the ultimate state of receivership. The moment you feel the gratitude of your success, you are in the perfect state to attract it because gratitude is the signature of the event having already taken place. When you exist in this state of future, present, you begin to emit a completely different electromagnetic signature into the quantum field. Field does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. If you are being a person who is already successful, you are broadcasting a frequency that is a vibrational match for success. Creates a magnetic pull that starts to draw new opportunities, new people, and new circumstances toward you. You will find that you no longer have to struggle or force things to happen. Instead, you start to experience synchronicities and coincidences that seem almost miraculous. These are signs from the universe that your internal state is beginning to manifest in your external world. However, challenge to maintain this state even when you open your eyes and see that your physical reality hasn't. To step into a life of unlimited success, you must eventually face the most daunting territory in the human experience, which is the crossing of the river of change. This is the space between your old self and your new self, the void between the familiar past and the unpredictable future. Most people spend their entire lives standing on the shore of the known, looking across at the life they want, but never fully committing to the crossing, because the middle of the river is a place of profound uncertainty. When you decide to no longer be the person you were, when you stop the complaining, the self-doubt habit of living in lack, you are essentially stepping off the solid ground of your old identity. For a while, you will feel as though you are in a vacuum. Your body, which has been conditioned to the old chemistry of stress and struggle, start to panic because it no longer feels the familiar emotional hits it has become addicted to. This discomfort is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is the biological indicator that you are finally doing something right. You are in the process of breaking the bond with your old reality. And that feeling of being lost is actually the feeling of becoming free from the predictable patterns of your history. If you want to become a magnet for possibility, learn to stay in this void without retreating to the shore of the past. Most people, the moment they feel the anxiety of the unknown, reach for their phone, their habits, or their old social circles to find relief. They want to feel something familiar if that familiar thing is the very limitation they are trying to escape. But if you can stay in that space of nothingness, you are in the perfect state of creation. In the quantum field, the unknown is where all possibilities exist. You can predict your life based on your past, then you are living in the known. And in the known, there is no room for a new success or a new miracle. Only when you are in the unknown can you truly create something that has never happened before. This is where you must become the master of your focus. Instead of letting your brain scan the environment for what might go wrong, you must use your will to hold the vision of what you are creating. You have to become comfortable being no one for a moment so that you can become anyone you choose to be. This is the death of the old self and the birth of the new, and like any birth, it requires a period of labor and intensity. As you cross this river, you are retraining your nervous system to handle a higher frequency of energy. The old self was a low-frequency broadcast of survival, but the new self is a high-frequency broadcast of creation. A transition period is simply the time it takes for your biology to catch up to your intention. You must understand that the void is not empty. It is actually filled with frequency and information. When you stop looking for the familiar and start looking into the darkness of the unknown with sense of curiosity and expectation, you begin to tune into the possibilities that were previously invisible to you. You start to realize that the fear you felt was just the ego's way of trying to stay in control. By staying in the river and refusing to turn back, you are proving to yourself and to the field that you are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are showing that you are ready for a new life. This is the true test of the Creator. It is easy to feel successful when things are going well. To feel successful and abundant when you are in the middle of the unknown is the ultimate act of faith and the ultimate way to magnetize your destiny. You are essentially clearing the slate of your life so that a new, more magnificent story can be written. While the process of clearing is uncomfortable, it is the only way to ensure that the new structure you build is not limited by the foundations of your past failures. To reach the absolute pinnacle of your creative power and become a true magnet for the extraordinary, you must learn to enter the state of being nobody, nothing, nowhere, and in no time. This is the moment you transition from being a materialist, defined by the physical world, to becoming a pure consciousness, existing in the unified field of all possibilities. In our daily lives, we are constantly obsessed with our bodies, how they look, how they feel, and what they need. We are consumed by the things we own, the people we know, the places we have to go, and the relentless pressure of the clock. This hyper focus on the three-dimensional reality keeps our brains in a state of high beta survival, where we are constantly scanning our environment for threats or opportunities. But as long as your attention is on the objects of your world, you are bound by the laws of the physical, which dictate that everything takes time and effort. To manifest at the speed of thought, you must take your attention off the material and place it on the immaterial. You must become pure awareness. When you sit in the stillness and begin to withdraw your energy from the external environment, you start to quiet the analytical mind. You move beyond the labels, the titles, and the history that define you. You are no longer a parent, an employee, a spouse, or even a person with a specific name. You become nobody. You take your attention off your phone, your car, and your bank account, becoming no thing. You forget about the room you are sitting in and the city you live in, becoming nowhere. Finally, you lose track of the linear progression of minutes and hours, becoming in no time. State of total surrender, you have officially entered the quantum field. This field is a non-physical reality made up of nothing but frequency and information. It is the invisible fabric that connects everything in the universe. You are no longer identifying with your physical self. You are no longer limited by the physical laws of cause and effect. You are now in a realm where every potential version of your life already exists as a signature of energy. The reason most people fail to attract success is that they try to create a new life while still being the somebody they have always been. They are trying to create a new reality using the same old identity. But the field doesn't respond to your desires. responds to your frequency. When you become no one, you are essentially stripping away the interference of the ego. You are clearing the broadcast signal. In this state of pure consciousness, you can finally connect with the source of all creation. From here, you can pick a potential from the infinite field, a version of yourself that is already successful, already fulfilled, and already in a state of mastery, and begin to observe it. In quantum physics, the act of the observer creates the reality. By observing that potential from a state of pure awareness, you begin to collapse the wave of probability into the particle of experience. You are not doing anything in the traditional sense. You are simply aligning your frequency with the frequency of that potential. This is the ultimate state of empowerment because you realize that you do not need to go anywhere to find success. You do not need to wait for time to pass or for conditions to be perfect. You are already there. You are the field, and the field is you. When you reside in this void of nothingness, you are actually in a place of everythingness. The more you can linger in this space, the more you decouple from the limitations of your past. You're training your brain to move into a state of gamma brainwave patterns, which is a state of super consciousness and high-level integration. In this state, you feel a sense of oneness with the universe. You realize that your success is not something you have to chase, but something that is an inherent part of your existence. You are essentially downloading new information into your biology. When you finally return to your physical senses and open your eyes, you are not the same person who sat down. You have brought a piece of that infinite field back with you. You have changed your energy. And because you have changed your energy, you have changed your destiny. You are now walking as a physical manifestation of the quantum field, and the world has no choice but to reflect that change back to you. This is the secret of the masters. They don't work on their business or their health first. They work on their consciousness, knowing that the physical world is simply a shadow of the energetic one. By mastering the art of being no body and no thing, you gain the power to create any body and anything you choose. The ultimate mastery of becoming a magnet for success lies in the consistent, daily evolution of your state of being, ensuring that the transformation you have initiated becomes a permanent residence rather than a temporary visit. It is one thing to feel like a creator during a moment of inspiration or in the silence of a deep practice. The real work, the true science of change, is sustaining that high-frequency emotion throughout the waking hours of your day. Most people fall back into the predictable patterns of their old selves the moment they encounter a challenging email, difficult conversation, or a stressful circumstance in their environment. They allow the outer world to tell them how to feel and how to think, and in that moment, they have lost their power. They have returned to being a victim of their environment. Truly sustain the evolution of your life, you must reach a point where your internal state is so stable and so coherent that it is no longer swayed by the fluctuations of the external world. You must become the mountain that remains unmoved by the passing storms. Requires a level of vigilance and self-awareness that is rare in our modern world, but it is the hallmark of every individual who has ever achieved greatness. Sustaining this evolution means you must wake up every single morning and consciously install the version of yourself that's required for the day ahead. You cannot go into a new day with the same old mindset and expect a different result. Mentally rehearse your day, seeing yourself responding to challenges with grace, acting with confidence, and maintaining the feeling of abundance even before a single dollar has manifested. If you can maintain this modified state of mind and body all day long, get ready, because something unusual is going to happen in your life. The universe begins to respond to your consistent signal with what we call synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that are the breadcrumbs of the quantum field. These events are the universe's way of saying that you are on the right frequency. They are the signs that you are no longer the one casing your destiny. Your destiny is now chasing you. These signs only appear when you are consistent. If you are abundant for 1 hour and in lack for the remaining 15 hours of the day, you are sending a mixed signal to the field. The field will reflect that inconsistency back to you in the form of stagnant or fluctuating results. The process of maintenance is also about the biology of belief. As you consistently embody your future self, you are literally conditioning your body to a new mind. You are teaching your cells a new language. Over time, the effort it takes to stay in this new state decreases. What was once a conscious struggle becomes an unconscious habit. You eventually reach a tipping point where it becomes more natural to be successful, happy, and inspired than it is to be stressed or limited. This is when you have truly crossed the river of change and landed on the other side. You have become a new person in the same body. In this state, your energy is no longer being leaked into the past or wasted on the survival emotions of the present. Instead, all of that energy is available to create and to expand. You start to see opportunities that were always there, but were invisible to you because your frequency was too low to perceive them. You start to attract people who are at your new level of consciousness. Life becomes an ongoing experiment in the power of the mind, and you begin to live in a state of constant awe at how perfectly the material world mimics your internal landscape. This evolution is not a destination, it is a way of life. The commitment to never go to sleep the same person you were when you woke up. It is the realization that your primary job is to manage your energy and your focus, because that is the currency of your reality. When you sustain the frequency of success, you become a living example of what is possible. You don't have to tell people you've changed, they can feel it. Your very presence begins to change the energy of the rooms you walk into. You have moved from being a person who is trying to get somewhere to being a person who has already arrived. This is the ultimate magnetic state. You are no longer waiting for the success to come to you so you can be happy, so happy and fulfilled in your own creation that the success is simply a natural byproduct of your existence. By staying in this state of perpetual becoming, you ensure that the door to the field of infinite possibility never closes. You continue to draw to yourself a life that is as grand and magnificent as the internal world you have so carefully cultivated. The journey to becoming a magnet for success is ultimately an inward pilgrimage, a transition from being a victim of your circumstances to becoming the sovereign architect of your reality. It requires the courage to surrender the familiar comfort of your past limitations and the discipline to maintain a frequency of potential even when the physical world has yet to catch up. When you master the alignment of your thoughts and feelings, you move beyond the constraints of your physical identity, and when you sustain heart-brain coherence in the face of life's daily challenges, you are no longer a person hoping for a better life. You are a biological and energetic masterpiece, broadcasting a signal that the quantum field must obey. The synchronicities, the wealth, the health, and the opportunities that once seemed like distant dreams become the natural, inevitable reflections of your internal state. You have successfully moved from living in the predictable laws of cause and effect to the miraculous realm of causing and effect. As you step back into your world, carry this new signature with you. Understand that your energy is your greatest asset and your focus is your greatest power. By remaining in the frequency of your future, present, you ensure that you are no longer chasing success. You have become the very destination that success is seeking.